What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we're going to have a discussion about traditional style knives. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody. Okay, today we're going to talk. We're going to have the talk. If you have been following me or are a subscriber to the channel, you will know that my good friend, Mr. Rusty Knife Lover, sent me over a huge box of knives. A lot of them in that package were traditional knives. He wanted me to try out because he knew that I wasn't a traditional knife kind of guy. So he sent me over a huge selection, which I've got a bunch right here and we'll go over in a second, to be like, hey, try them out. I'm going to get you into traditionals. And he gave me so many freaking knives that I think I've got a pretty good idea. Now, I was going to originally do reviews on all these, but I did a review on one, and I've carried some of the other ones, and I just don't know if I am even really able or qualified to do reviews on these. But we're going to talk about my experience carrying all of these knives. First of all, premise on me, I'm a big knife guy, okay? I like big knives. I'm also one that likes to be able to open and close the knife one-handed. So automatically, traditionals for me take a hit. Doesn't mean that they're bad. It's just a part of my preference for the tool that I have on me. Now, that being said, I always have a folder on me that I can open and close with one hand. So, and then I also have, most of the time, a backup blade. Something simple, something that's easy. Something that maybe if, a non-knife person asks to borrow a knife, I can hand to them. Traditionals in this sense for me make sense. And I noticed that most of the time when I do carry a secondary knife, it still is a modern knife. However, I carry something like this every day. This is the Victorinox nail clip, or another Swiss Army Victorinox knife. These things. These are they're slip joints, but just with a lot more tools. Kind of a traditional knife. And I have carried those for that reason, for a backup knife, something that if I do have a nicer folder on me that I don't want to tear up, if I'm doing something a little bit harder or even something dirty or something like that, because I am a knife collector and I don't use my knives really. I mean, the knives that I carry on me, I carry at the worst. I do cardboard, break down a couple of boxes to go in the bin. Of course, I just got through watching one of those TV shows where they talk like this and they say, throw it in the bin. So I don't know what the hell I did that. But yeah, I've been watching some shows with my wife. So in the garbage or the recycling bin, I'll do that. That's about the hardest thing that I do with my knives. Maybe some zip ties. Other than that, I don't use them really hard. Like I have some knives that I'll go out when I do go outdoors to the land that we got. I've got some harder use, comfortable knives that I'll take out there or we go camping or whatever. But for the most part, I don't use my knives for any kind of hard work. I work in an office setting, so opening packages and stuff like that is about the gist of my EDC and what I need my EDC knife to do. You also know that I'm a big guy and I like the big knives. So I do have overbuilt, huge, knives that are not useful at all, such as the Viking here. But it just brings me happiness. I like the action. I like that it's big and ridiculous, and I will use that knife for lighter task. My regular EDC, whenever I was not the best at it, it's definitely not the best EDC knife. But these, as traditionals go, they go from size-wise, from this little bitty case. This case was actually a gift that my father gave to my son, who has passed away. Not my son, my father. And so this is a very special knife because my dad always carried a case knife. And I was always one to be like, why are you carrying that thing? You can't open it one-handed, blah, blah, blah. We would always have conversations. But that was him. He wanted a good little cutting tool that would fit down in his pocket and he could bring it out to do what he needed to do. And so he bought this and gave it to my son. And, you know, those kind of things, especially these traditional knives, that's what I think of is, you know, my father, my grandfather. Those are the kind of guys who carried these knives, and they're great tools. So you can get one that's about this big or this big. This was one that Rusty sent me because he knows I like big knives, and this is so huge and ridiculous. I fell in love with this thing. This is a Rough Rider, and believe it or not, this is not a, well, it is. It's kind of gimmicky or whatever, but it actually has an edge. It cuts. It has, you know, wonderful materials. I mean, look at this thing. It's ridiculous, and I love it. I love everything about it. So, yeah. I mean, come on. So anyways, it was something that I didn't really understand because you know, traditional knives to me were kind of small. He sent me something like this. This is about as, you know, EDC size, you know, really, really nice. And then he sent me some more that were, you know, more my length. Look at this big old boy. You know, skinny little blade, little clip points. Even something like this, another Rough Rider, you know, micarta. But this one actually does lock. It has like a little liner lock in there. So, you know, he opened my eyes to certain things that when he sent me these knives that I didn't realize. I don't know if I'm going to start actually buying more traditional knives or not. However, they do have a purpose, I think, for me. And, you know, we've got some Rough Riders. I just got a gift set from Bad Monkey EDC1, who sent me a slip joint with the Don't Tread on Me. It was this yellow, and it just is obviously awesome for me because that is what this channel means, is Don't Tread on Me, knives and gear. And I was dumbfounded. That knife, I absolutely love. And then these Rough Riders, which I think is a Rough Rider. Shoot, now I don't remember. Are just really inexpensive and well-made tools. So I was very happy. But then he also sent me the things like this Beaver Tail. Look at this. It's all dirty. But the patina on this just, it doesn't even come over really well. It just looks dirty. But the patina on this blade is amazing. There's you some wood on this thing. And this is a GEC, American-made blade with high carbon steel. Most of these steels that you will find on traditionals are either going to be, you know, a basic stainless or a high carbon steel. Some of your Rough Riders, the cheaper Rough Riders that are still good tools, come in maybe D2. Here's another GEC. I mean, you can tell the difference too between something like this. This is, I believe, called the Pioneer. This one was the Beaver Tail. And you can just really feel the difference. I don't know how much these things cost, but this American-made traditional right here is absolutely amazing, okay? This has a really nice micarta that is not smooth like the denim micarta on this one. It actually has texture to it. It's a little rougher. The milling patterns are, most of these are actually done by hand, especially with GEC. What they do with the scales and stuff, it's actually done by hand, fit and finished by hand. And that's why you'll see these, which are more expensive, yes. But the transitions of where the, I guess it's a spring, you know, where it kind of, you know, see how it comes up. I'm still very new at this. But the transitions of whenever it's opened and closed through the scales and the, I think this is brass, I think, in here. I mean, it's just flawless. Flawless as far as the fit and finish. So, I mean, if I was to carry, this is actually a pretty heavy guy too. I mean, it's my size. It's a big boy compared to some of the other, you know, traditional style knives that I was used to growing up as a kid with my grandfather and my dad. Now, I think my grandfather had a Buck 110, which is actually, you know, it's a backlock. But I still call that traditional. Wasn't a slip joint. And I have only really traditional style knife that I have in the collection as of right now is the Cevi Rustic Gent, which is a backlock. I do enjoy this knife though because of the fuller there. I can actually get this knife open. And then of course I can close it because it does have a half stop and it falls there, and then I can, so that's actually pretty nice to me. And that's about as traditional as I've got right now for like a primary. For a backup, however, these knives I think are awesome for that. Now, one thing that it's like for me, a pocket clip. I don't like just throwing my knives into my pocket, except for this little guy. I throw it in my pocket because I hardly ever use this except for the nail clippers, the tweezers, and the toothpick. But I'll use the blade on this, like I said, give it to somebody who just needs to cut open some tape or something off a box. I'll give them this if I have a high-dollar knife in my pocket. So I don't forget where I was going with that. Oh, as far as a pocket clip, I do rather have something with a pocket clip. So Rusty sent over this thing. This is a leather slip with a deep carry loop over pocket clip. Game changer. Okay, so the Cevi, it came with one too. Okay, so in this, for $65, $68 or whatever, it came with a slip. I think Cevi nailed it out of the park for the price. You still get this. And but the reason that I put this lanyard on here is because it's really hard to get out. And so I actually have to use the lanyard to get it out. And then putting back in is actually kind of a chore. This slip is made by Cedar Grove Leather. There is their information. They have an Etsy store. I really would like you guys to go check them out. I have not talked to them. The only product that I have had in hand is this guy, but I love it. As far as carrying a traditional knife, if you like these really nice wood, bone materials and the fit and finish that you get with a good traditional knife, but you'd rather have something that you could get in out of your pocket without having to throw it down in there, boy, does this nice. Now, so the differences between the slip on the Cevi, so they both have a kind of a deep carry pocket clip, right? But the difference here is this little area right here. So simple. This allows you to get the knife in and out of your pocket without, see, this has just a little bit of a cutout here. And it's not easy to get when you have this in your pocket. It's not easy to get the knife. It is easier to get it out with you have a lanyard on it. But if I didn't have a lanyard on this, it's very cumbersome actually. This is genius. So not only, of course, this is way better made than the one you get from Cevi. Not knocking on it, but this is crap. I mean, it works crap compared to this guy. Look at the leather and the stitching. It's just a beautiful, beautiful piece, beautiful slip. Very well made. I believe all of these are made in America. So if you are a traditional kind of guy and you've been thinking about getting a slip, go check these guys out because I am impressed. Very impressed. And then, of course, the knives that I did carry, I carried like this. And, I carry a primary in my front right pocket. These, I still did carry like in the left pocket, sometimes in the right back pocket. With this particular size, I was able to get it in and out very, very well, and then just pull it out, use it, stow it. Now, it's still not as convenient, and I still don't prefer it to a knife that I can pull out and close and stow with one hand. I'm still not going to change there because that's just the way I am. However, it has definitely opened my eyes to where I can see getting one or maybe a few in the collection, especially these American-made versions. I mean, these things are really eye-opening to the quality that you get when you're working with, because you get really good quality with Rough Rider, and I've got quite a few here that he sent me. However, these GECs, these are pretty damn nice. Like I said, high carbon stainless steel most of the time. The high carbon steel, I think, is what I would like because of the patina that I can already see on these. Looks pretty sweet. Some people don't like that. I really, really do. It just gives the knife character. I love it. see if we can get another shot. It just looks dirty on the camera, but it's, I swear to God, it actually does look really good up in person. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, my thoughts now. I'm still not what you would say as far as I'm not a traditional guy. Okay. I'm not going to go and start collecting traditional knives or even carrying traditional knives every single day. But I am definitely going to carry them sometimes. A knife like this, it's so well made, and it's a wonderful cutting tool. To be able to pair it with something like this, I can totally get behind that. And, you know, and if I am going somewhere where, you know, something that I usually carry or something that's just wicked, blah, you know, like this Evo from Rotten Designs. If I'm just going somewhere, which you guys know, I really don't give a damn what people think. And I live in Alabama where everybody carries a knife. But there might be some places where I want a more gentlemanly carry. And I think you can't get more gentlemanly or less offensive than a good traditional knife. You know, if I was going to a place to where I knew people that I respected and they wouldn't want me to be the big knife guy, like, I would carry something like this. If I was going to a place where I knew there were a bunch of libtards who fear-based everything, I would carry the big, huge, scary knife just to spite because I'm an asshole. But these are a great put in your pocket, go to church knife, you know, going on a picnic kind of knife. And some people might be offended while I'm saying that, but I hope not, because these tools work and they work well. It's just not my speed on what I like to carry, but they're good. I cannot say they're not. I cannot say that each and every one of these knives that I was carrying throughout this process didn't work as a tool for me. Some are more beautiful than others. Some are bigger than others. You know, some are just like shiny, swoopy little blades. Some are really skinny, you know, thin profile little blades. You know, you've got such a variety of materials, blade shapes, blade sizes, 2, 3 blades, that it really is nice to have that. And I can totally see why people do. I may end up looking for a GEC knife that fits my style and just kind of see. The fact that I've got that one from Bad Monkey really is my traditional style knife now because I love carrying that just because obviously it looks, I don't know why I don't have it in front of me. Hold on a second. Watch out. I'm talking about this knife and I didn't even grab it because it was in my little EDC tray because I usually I'll put things in and out. Today I did not carry this, but yesterday I did. This is the one I was talking about, that Bad Monkey EDC. One gifted me, and as you can see, it is definitely up my alley. So a knife like this coupled with this is definitely going to be an EDC item for me. Now, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they make smaller versions because as you can see, this, it goes all the way down in there. And with this, it's fine because of that little tab thing there. So I can definitely grab this and get it out of the pocket, no problem. However, I kind of liked it with the bigger ones where it was actually sticking out like this, which defeats the purpose of the deep carry pocket clip. I get it. But I just like to be able to get it in and out better, easier. So I might see if they have a smaller one for this guy. But yeah, it's going to be part of an EDC, not an everyday thing. Might carry something like this as a backup when I don't have another folder that I'm trying to review. That's mainly the reason. It's because I have a lot of knives in for review, and so I'm carrying those to get a good idea. But yeah, it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen. I'm not going to be a traditional knife guy, but it's going to find a place. It's going to find a place. Rusty, you are the man for allowing me to do this because I am blown away, really, at what we have on the table. I just never thought in a million years, really, ever since my dad carried these, that I would be into traditionals. And I think I'm more now than I ever have been. You're not going to see a ton, don't get me wrong, but you're going to see more. Rusty, I love you to death, brother. Thank you so much for sending these along. Rusty also sent me some fixed blades that we have got to go over. And so I'm trying to get all that done. Got a lot of stuff going on right now. So stay tuned for all of that. Guys, remember, if you're still here, we got some channel stickers now on the channel. If you want any of these, hit me up, DM on Instagram or at dtomknivesandgear@yahoo.com if you want some of those. Guys, stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.